Yeah, so it's essentially really what I want to do is, first of all, acknowledge members of the partnership. So the key ones are shown are the three, initially the three top of the South councils, and one of the most exciting things in recent years has been Greater Wellington joining us, and it's really good to have Megan here too. So maybe we need to consider changing our name, Focus. But in addition to the councils, of course, we've been very strongly supported by MPI throughout, and we we couldn't really do what we do, or the mahi, without collaborating with the likes of the marinas, the research Cawthron, the aquaculture industry, DOC, and yeah, so many other, and basically the general public as well, which is highlighted by the need for surveillance, which I'll be touching on. So essentially, tying in with what we were talking about personally early on, is really just looking at the core role of or purpose of the partnership. And it's really just to initially prevent pests establishing in the first instance, or once they have established, to manage them and to undertake, have a good response effort. And we'll be got a good practical exercise later on today around our incursion response manual, which will help focus on that. But also it's important to touch on our vision, which is the why of our work, and that's really acknowledging or protecting the marine environment's ecological function, and also just the various needs of future and present generations. So just really going to touch on the highlights of the last year of how the partnership's been working in these various work streams. The ones that I've highlighted there are the ones I'm just going to be touching on in a bit more detail. First of all, yeah, the surveillance is really key and core part of what we do. And essentially, there's a number of ways that we undertake surveillance. We do a summer hull inspection work throughout the different council areas, and we've extended that into Greater Wellington in the last year. So we've had undertaken 3,600 inspections. That chart shows the level of fouling of those vessels. So essentially what basic boaties get interviewed and talked to, and while we're sort of determining their level of awareness of marine biosecurity and what measures they've undertaken on their vessels, the vessels get dived as well. So they're inspected in a sort of a level of fouling gauge. So you'll see there's a lot of scope there. Over what's, I guess, pleasing to say, over 50% meet the level of fouling lower than 3, but there's still a lot of work to be done on raising awareness. And the risk areas that I've highlighted there are Northland, Auckland and Littleton vessels, because they are high risk because of their the abundance of Sabella in particular at those ports, and also the level of cleaning on vessels. A lot of people think that their vessels are clean, but they've sort of we've found Sabella in particular in some of the hard to get areas, around the propeller, etc. So that's another area of work that we need to do with marinas and boaties, is just improving that level of cleanliness. This is just a summary of the detections of Sabella in particular that have been found, and you'll see there's a lot of detail on there, but to me the sort of standout is still the number of detections found in these waters around Waikawa and the Sounds in particular, but also good to know that they have been detected, and there's been a really good response as far as ensuring that those vessels have been hauled out and cleaned. Another highlight for me personally is the fact that for the second year running now, no Sabella have been found in Nelson. So we're reasonably confident that we've successfully eradicated it from there, but it's only short term. We need to maintain some ongoing surveillance and be prepared to respond. So there's members of the councils involved and the mariners are here. If you've got any questions about this, have a chat with them about it during the course of the day. Oh, sorry. Another key part of surveillance that we're really appreciative of, that Irene touched on actually, is the work that's funded by Biosecurity New Zealand and undertaken by Earth Sciences now. It's interesting that three, Picton, Nelson and Wellington now harbours are included in that work. So we've obviously been identified as high-risk sites. And I've just noted there the finds from the various surveys over the last year. Two notable non-Indigenous marine pests found, one in Wellington and another one, the whelk in Nelson. So there's images of those there. And it's also interesting to note, always a new to New Zealand marine pest as well, the red algae, which was found in September in Nelson. But Chris might want to comment on that, but it wasn't found to the extent of that's a great concern. It's not something that we needed to respond to, but it is really good to have that ongoing surveillance taking place. I mentioned Greater Wellington. This is specifically something that we've focused on in the last year, and they are established. They don't have many marine pests in their pest management plan. It's something that they are working on developing, but it's interesting just to note the level of fouling there, because in Nelson, Tasman and Marlborough now there's a sort of level of fouling of 2 or less is acceptable. So anything above that, at 3 or more, the vessels will need to be cleaned before entering into the top of the south, or to 3 top of the south councils. So clearly there's a lot of education work with boaties in Greater Wellington and elsewhere, of course. Just looking at some of the wider initiatives we've undertaken, Irene's already mentioned Protect Our Paradise, and there's also the Clean Below Good to Go campaign that the Top of the North partnership is driving. So we're working very collectively with them. And also just note the, in Tasman Nelson area, we've amended the pest management plan to have a level of fouling of 2 or below required. So yeah, that brings us in line with Marlborough. So it's really good to have that consistency in place, especially with regard to messaging to other councils and other areas. And really, this is a really critical area, and it's great to see Alex here, because it's all very well having the rules in place, but if we don't have the infrastructure in place to be able to clean vessels and help with our response efforts, then yeah, and that's where Lyttelton, I think, are really struggling with their infestation of Sabella. So the really positive thing, it's not in place yet, but Alex might be able to comment on when it's likely to be in place as a new haul out.
Yeah, the new pilot has now arrived,
right.
so it's been constructed. The biggest thing that was told that is building a new wider Conga runway, and that's due to start April the 1st, but the first operation at the end of May.
Excellent. That is really good news, especially because Tasman don't really have any facility or haul out facility, so we're basically servicing the whole of the Tasman Nelson area. The marine vessel portal, so that's something that's been developed. Again, top of the North, Hamish Luss in particular, he's probably online, has been initiating that, and Mitch and Hayden, I think, are going to be talking a little bit about that soon, so I won't touch on that, but it's just a really invaluable tool to capture surveillance data. And Cawthron, Patrick, I imagine, will be talking a little bit more about this later on, but it's just good to acknowledge their research, which is really invaluable as far as developing some tools to help us improve and undertake our marine biosecurity work, and also acknowledging Aquaculture New Zealand and some of their work there. And I just wanted to touch on Dave Taylor. He's been a regular supporter and involved in the partnership. He left Aquaculture New Zealand earlier this year, and we sort of look forward to the new Aquaculture New Zealand reps being involved with the partnership on an ongoing basis. So just looking forward, and I'll probably touch on this, it might be more appropriate later on actually, but we're just reviewing what we've done over the last year. Obviously going to maintain the connection and expand it and enhance it when we can, including having some more workshops, because it's something we've had in the past, but in the last year or so we haven't had any. So that's looking at pest ID workshops to create a lot more awareness of what these pests look like, and also just some guidance for boaties on practical ways that they can anti-foul their vessels. We're going to continue with our national collaboration with Top of the North in particular, and through MPI, supporting Greater Wellington with their as they roll out a marine biosecurity program, and also just looking to others like Taranaki Steve, ECAN as well. It's great that you're here to support you and your endeavours, and look at how we can help out. Always looking to improve our engagement with tangata whenua. Got the new travel lift coming up, and essentially just maintain that technology and research function that we have as well. So yeah, that's it. It's really just an overview of the annual report that we produce, which is available online, and we've also got a more detailed operational plan that we're using for some of this looking forward stuff too. So yeah, thank you. I just want to acknowledge the work of Kane and his team in particular, and their coordination role, which has really helped us work a lot more cohesively, not just within our various councils, but also around the national scene as well. Thank you.
Thank you.